I recently visited the Harland and Wolff shipyard in Belfast, Northern Ireland, where the Titanic was built. In 1912, the Titanic was a marvel of modern engineering. The builders were so confident of her strengths, her size, power, and cutting-edge design that they barely worried about her weaknesses: brittle steel hull plates and weak iron-riveted seams that failed upon impact. Combined with excessive speed and icy waters and insufficient lifeboats, these weaknesses collectively turned a glancing blow with an iceberg into a catastrophic hull failure and a loss of over 1,500 lives. The Titanic is a powerful analogy for personal development because it shows what can happen when confidence in strengths blinds us to our weaknesses. The idea that strengths alone will save us shows up in organizations all the time. And this is a subject of research by Robert Etchinger, Michael Lombardo, and Dave Ulrich in their outstanding book, 100 Things You Need to Know, Best People Practices for Managers in HR. These researchers ask the hard questions, test them across organizations, industries, and decades, and then tell us how confident they are of the answer. And yes, there will be a quiz, but don't worry, nobody's grading you. So here's the question. What is the most likely outcome when individuals focus exclusively on developing their strengths and taking jobs that match those strengths? A, it would only work well for those with the right strengths to begin with. B, people would be happier and more productive because they wouldn't have to worry about weaknesses. C, the strengths would get stronger, overwhelming any weaknesses that might get in their way. D, strengths are likely to be overdone and not balanced, and unaddressed weaknesses would become blind spots. Or E, more people would become stronger performers over time. The correct answer? D. Strengths are likely to be overdone or not balanced, and unaddressed weaknesses would become blind spots. And how sure are the authors of this answer? The answer is substantial, meaning the answer is backed up by robust research. Strong evidence for developing both strengths and weaknesses comes from derailment research by the Center for Creative Leadership and from Kaplan and Kaiser's studies on leadership versatility. Research on high potential leaders shows that without feedback, strengths can become liabilities. People increasingly rely on what they do well, while overlooking or remaining unaware of their downsides. Over time, those overused strengths tip into weaknesses and contribute to career derailment. For example, one manager's strength might be intelligence. They grasp complex problems quickly, spot patterns others miss, and often have the right answer quickly. Earlier in their career, this is gold, but over time, they rely on this so heavily that they jump ahead of their team, solve problems themselves, or dismiss questions as obvious. Team members stop contributing, hesitating to speak, or struggle to grow because the manager is always several steps ahead. What began as sharp thinking turns into impatience and unintentionally intimidating leadership. People stop contributing, not because they're disengaged, but because they're intimidated or constantly behind. Development stalls and collaboration dries up. What began as intelligence morphs into perfectionism, arrogance, analysis paralysis, and the manager being viewed as a know-it-all. Now let's take decisiveness, a trait organizations love, especially in fast-moving environments. Picture a senior leader during a merger, crisis, or rapid scale-up. They make fast calls, keep momentum, and cut through uncertainty. Fantastic! Until they stop asking for input. Team members feel ignored. Good ideas get missed. And people disengage because decisions feel rushed or one-sided. What once looked like leadership now feels like control. Morale dips, engagement slips, and results eventually follow. The authors point out that the lack of self-awareness is the big crippler here. People don't know what they don't know and tend to overestimate their skills dramatically, especially their interpersonal skills and impact on others. Common sense alone should stop us from betting our entire career on our strengths. Who genuinely believes the same handful of strengths will carry us throughout our total careers? The strongest approach is balance. Double down on what you do well, stretch into new territory, and learn to recognize and neutralize your weaknesses before they become liabilities. No one is arguing that someone who avoids conflict will suddenly become a master negotiator, but they can learn to handle conflict competently by understanding the other side, asking better questions, and stating their position clearly without emotion. Kaplan and Kaiser studied executives and found something crucial. The most effective leaders are versatile. They combine opposites, decisive and empowering, confident and curious, results-driven and people-aware. They weren't one-note performers. They could shift, and that ability to modulate strengths instead of overplaying them was a defining difference. Lombardo and Etchinger found the opposite pattern in low-performing managers. These leaders repeated past behaviors, failed to learn from experience, and treated new challenges as just more of the same. Their learning wasn't progressive. It was random, and over time, they fell behind. Zinger and Folkman make a more nuanced case. Yes, focus on strengths, they say, but neutralize weaknesses and address fatal flaws, especially failure to learn. Strengths only hurt effectiveness when they are not counterbalanced. Drive without interpersonal skills burns people out. Confidence without humility shuts people down. So what does this mean for managers and HR professionals? The idea of focusing on strengths is so seductive. No bad news, no uncomfortable feedback, no awkward development conversations. But as the authors point out, like most ideas that sound too good to be true, this one borders on irresponsibility. Because focusing on strengths alone leads to not dealing with change, not growing, and becoming blindsided by weaknesses. In summary, is it a good idea to focus on strengths? Absolutely. That's where much of our success comes from. But the smarter approach is to leverage strengths, develop in new areas, neutralize weaknesses, and build awareness before derailment does it for you. Not even the most successful people have every skill. Their real advantage is knowing themselves, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Those who rely solely on their strengths, like the Titanic, will eventually meet an iceberg. Those who strengthen what they do well, acknowledging and managing their weaknesses, are far more likely to succeed.
John Paul here. If you like this video, check out the HR Insight YouTube channel where we have more videos just like this. Make sure to click subscribe so you get notifications.